What if the clever gadgets that caught your eye in the showroom are secretly shaving years off your car's life? Imagine walking out on a frosty morning, only to find the doors frozen shut because the battery died, keeping the keyless sensors awake all night. Picture a 6-foot spider crack snaking across a panoramic roof you never asked for, or a dash that flickers to black after a midnight software update. Those aren't freak accidents, they're baked-in trade-offs that automakers rarely mention. Today, we're diving deep into the hidden costs of modern innovation, so you can duck a 5-figure repair before it ambushes your wallet. Buckle up. What we land on at number 1 will make you rethink every shiny option on the sticker. Saving fuel sounds noble until the fix turns fatal. Start-to-stop systems were sold as the simplest path to lower emissions. Engine off at the light, engine on when you lift your foot. Yet 2 million families in minivans and SUVs have discovered the sinister side. The starter strains, the battery wheezes, and sometimes the engine just stays off. Ford's Bronco Sport Recall paints the same picture. Hundreds of thousands of happy buyers suddenly facing jump starts in rush hour traffic. The math is brutal. You save maybe €70 a year in gas, but a starter motor failure wipes out 10 years of those savings in a single tow. Hovering right behind starter stop is the smart alternator. It charges only when the computer says so, usually keeping the battery at 70% state of charge to squeeze another gram of CO2 off the lab results. Sounds clever until the first cold snap leaves you with 11.9 volts and a car that barely cranks. Every weak battery triggers a cascade. Voltage dips, starve fuel pumps, electronics reset in motion, and alternator diodes cook themselves trying to claw back the juice. Then there's the wet timing belt, bathing in engine oil as it whirls around at 6,000 RPM. That bath reduces friction, great for the brochure, but it also lets rubber particles slough off into the crankcase, thickening the oil into gritty tar. Lose a tooth, and the engine suddenly loses oil pressure. Pistons slap valves in a mechanical fistfight you cannot win. Service advisors smile politely while delivering €5,000 repair quotes that start with the phrase, "If you're lucky, the block is still good." Finish the quartet with low-tension piston rings. Designed to glide with almost no drag, they let a mist of oil slip past into the combustion chamber. The result is a car that looks healthy but guzzles a quart every 1,000 kilometers, quietly suffocating catalytic converters and sending blue smoke signals to the neighbors. Classic action lawyers love these rings. Owners decidedly do not. Mechanical wear is slow torture software. Landmines explode overnight. Your car now updates itself while you sleep. Sometimes it never wakes up. Polestar drivers learned this the hard way when a routine over of the one patch froze the central screen, door locks, and climate control by sunrise. Tesla owners aren't immune. A weak Wi-Fi handshake mid-download can glitch the media unit, leaving you with a blank slate where speed and battery data should be. You don't reboot a car with Control-Alt to delete. You schedule a service visit and hope the queue is shorter than 3 weeks. Brake-by-wire raises the stakes. In theory, it blends regenerative slowing with friction braking seamlessly. In practice, a corroded sensor or dying 12-volt cell can yank the brake pedal straight to the floor. Mercedes had to park 15,000 SUVs until dealers replaced master cylinders. Corvette owners watched warning lights scream brake system failure before the recall letter even arrived. When silicon replaces hydraulics, voltage isn't just convenience, it's survival. And speaking of voltage, welcome to Vampire Drain. Remote app pings, security modules, and driver row profile memories can burn through 8% of a battery pack per day. Leave a Mach-E at the airport for a week, and the 12-volt support battery may go flat, trapping the charge door shut and the gear selector in park. The tow truck driver won't be amused, and neither will your credit card. Fancy door handles and spaceship dashboards look futuristic until ice, dust, or time get involved. Designers love flush surfaces. Rescuers still prefer levers. Electronic door handles make the car look like a concept rolling down the boulevard until winter slush freezes the mechanism solid. One Canadian owner spent half an hour warming his Tesla's handle with a hairdryer powered by a neighbor's extension cord. A dead 12-volt battery produces an even darker comedy. From the outside, you can't get in. From the inside, you might not get out. Nearly 200,000 Mach-E owners learned that voltage below 9 volt could turn the cabin into a locked safe. Inside, haptic touch panels replace old-fashioned knobs with glossy surfaces that attract fingerprints and sunlight glare. Tap once, nothing. Tap twice, full heat at the height of July. VW reversed course for its 2025 Golf, reintroducing physical buttons after owners complained they couldn't find the defroster while wearing gloves. Replace a cracked panel, and you're staring at a €2,000 invoice if the screen isn't on national backorder. Push-button shifters pile on the drama. A spilled latte or a corrupted shift control module can lock your car in neutral with no manual override. One owner had to crawl under a Hyundai armed with a pocket screwdriver, fishing for a hidden release to load the vehicle onto a flatbed. Convenience is fragile and frightfully expensive. Your suspension shouldn't need its own savings account. Air springs feel magical the day you drive off the lot, floating over potholes like they're rumors. 6 winters later, microscopic cracks turn into audible hisses. The compressor overworks itself, the ride height sensor panics, and one corner of the car squats like it's posing for a lowrider meet. Replacing a pair of bags, a desiccant cartridge, and an OEM compressor runs more than some entire used hatchbacks. Active grille shutters promise aerodynamic gains and faster warm-ups. They live behind the front bumper, right where slushy brine, gravel, and insects collect. Jam them half-closed on the motorway, and coolant temps spike. The ECU fires the radiator fans on max, then neuters engine power when that fails. Clearing the trouble code doesn't fix a motor with corroded windings, only a new assembly will, and it starts at 3 figures without labor. Electric water pumps are supposed to keep turbos cool after shutdown. Unlike belt-driven pumps, they offer no telltale dribble of coolant when they're about to fail, they just stop. One driver saw the temperature gauge rocket into the red less than 60 seconds after the dashboard warned, "Engine overheating, stop safely." Flatbed time. Again. Panoramic glass roofs seal the deal, sometimes literally. Adhesives degrade, glass panes rattle in the frame, and sudden temperature swings can trigger starburst cracks. Warranty coverage often hinges on whether the automaker decides a pebble made first contact. If they shrug, that €1,500 replacement comes straight off your holiday budget. The wheels keep turning, but the bills can spin just as fast. The only part of your car touching the ground is now a fashion statement, and it's bankrupting you. Runner flat tires are the poster child of false security. Yes, you can limp 40 miles after a puncture, but only if you notice the puncture before the sidewall self-destructs. Many shops refuse to patch runner flats, citing liability. Replacement pricing lands somewhere north of €500 per pair, and that doesn't include the alignment you'll need after the added unsprung mass batters your control arms. Oversized wheels compound the misery. 22-inch alloys and impossibly thin rubber transfer every pothole directly into the rim. A single crater can bend the bead, shred the tire, and tweak suspension geometry. Owners report 3 cracked wheels in a single winter, then face 6-month waits because the exact chrome black diamond cut replacement is out of stock worldwide. Mandatory TPMS sensors add insult. Their sealed coin cell batteries die quietly after 8 to 10 years. The bright amber symbol on the dash won't disappear until you replace all 4 sensors, plus the spare, if you have one. With labor and programming, that light can cost €400 to extinguish. The spare tire itself? Gone. In its place, a foam Wesleyan kit with a shelf life. Break the seal on the bottle, and you might clog the valve stem, glue the sensor, and still fail to seal a sidewall gash. Congratulations, you've traded a 10-minute jack job for a 2-hour tow. Transition. Lightweight plastics save grams but cost fortunes when they crack. Plastic saves weight. Aluminum saves engines. BMW's see-through coolant tanks look nifty until ultraviolet rays embrittle the plastic. One spirited highway run later, a hairline crack becomes a geyser, vaporizing coolant before the low-level sensor triggers. The temp gauge climbs, you pull over, and now you're pricing toe straps on your phone. Ford learned a similar lesson with plastic intake manifolds. Heat cycling makes them brittle. Sudden pressure spikes can punch a crater the size of a golf ball above cylinder 3. The resulting vacuum leak sends the idle skyrocketing. and the wrench icon flickers like a strobe. Eco-friendly soy-based wire insulation seemed brilliant until rodents declared open season under hoods. Mice love the taste, gnawing cannabis harnesses in weekend-long feasts. Owners wake to Christmas tree dashboards and four-figure quotes for harness replacements that require stripping the entire interior. Even headlights fall victim. Sealed LED units blur the line between bulb and housing. One failed diode, one cracked lens, and the whole assembly lands in the trash. Tesla Model 3 owners quote €1,800 for a single replacement. Ford Explorer owners hover just below €2,500. Drop a wrench while swapping the washer fluid pump? Better pray it misses the headlight. At this point, the biggest threat might not be wear or weather, it could be Wi-Fi. The same tech that lets you walk away while your doors lock themselves can invite strangers to do the same. Relay-style vehicle theft needs 2 people and 60 seconds. One waves an amplifier at your front door, the other stands by your car with a receiver. Suddenly, the car thinks the key fob is inches away and unlocks. Gone in 60, literally. In parts of Europe, 2/3 of premium brand thefts now happen this way. Automakers suggest Faraday pouches, but rarely include them standard. Even when thieves aren't browsing, your battery still island remote start apps check vehicle status every few minutes, forcing the low-voltage system to stay awake. One Jeep owner measured a 10-day drain that left a brand-new AGM battery at 6 volts. Instead of turning a key, he turned a screwdriver on the fuse box and yanked the telematics module just to let the car sleep. We've covered mechanical stress, software glitches, luxury headaches, rolling money pits, material betrayals, and security gaps. But what does it all add up to? Modern cars sell convenience, efficiency, and flair. Too often, that translates into fragility, expense, and risk. Start-stop systems hammer starters and batteries for pocketed change savings. Over-the-air updates can brick a dashboard, the way a bad flash bricks a phone. Flush door handles trap you inside. Haptic screens hide your heater. Air springs float on day 1 and sink on day 800. Runny flats limp, plastic cracks, rodents chew, and keyless fobs open doors for everyone. The solution isn't to fear progress, it's to know the trade-offs and act early. Disable what you can, service what you must, and sometimes choose the boring trim that still uses a metal key and a rubber hose. Your car and your wallet will last longer for it. Up next, we're showing you 5 dirt-cheap tricks to squeeze colder air from any AC system without touching the refrigerant. Hit subscribe, share this with a friend who loves shiny options, and drive smarter.